Hey everybody, and welcome to the Sales Room with Erika, owner of the Pod Photography in Culver City in Los Angeles, California. And we just got done putting up a whole bunch of fun new stuff in your studio. So by my count, I think we put up 44 pieces for you today.
So many pieces.
In multiple configurations, multiple rooms. So let's start with the basic question before we get more in depth here. What was your original reason for wanting to do your redesign? And as you're walking around the space now, what is your first impression?
So I wanted to redesign the space so that I could showcase some of the new products, showcase my newer work, and just freshen up the space so it looks beautiful and more modern.
And as you're walking in now,
like I can't stop like jumping up and down every time I walk through the space. Like it's gorgeous. Yeah. I mean, we put in huge pieces, and that definitely transforms the space. Yeah. And lots of bold colors. It just looks beautiful and, dare I say, expensive.
I think you can dare to say that. And I really think, knowing you as I do and seeing your work a lot, when you're walking through now, the color, the texture, the design of the sets really represents you. And I think that as people walk in, especially down the hallway, that's really impressive. Those 5 30 by 30 float frames up there, one in particular that happens to be your little girl. Yes. It really is a wonderful way to enter the space. So let's talk about sales a little bit here, since we're sitting in your sales room. You are using the White House app, the
Correct.
iPad app. You're doing your slideshows, your rate and review, and then you're also doing room views.
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
I do that for every single client.
Perfect. And would you say that being able to show them that room view helps you solidify the sale?
100%, because people need to see it. People are visual. And it also is incredibly helpful when I get an actual home view from a client, because they may often say, oh yeah, this is the perfect size. And then I show it to them on their wall and they go, oh wow, that's way too small. And I have been able to sell larger pieces because I think people see it in their space and it looks perfect, and they will buy the size that I'm showing them is perfect versus looking on the wall and going, yeah, that's a fine size.
Right. So I'm assuming then once they see it in their space, it's not you having to convince them anymore. It's like, oh, I just love this.
Exactly.
Yep. And maybe I want to change this or this, but it gets them thinking about that, what's possible.
Absolutely. And seeing it in their space and not needing to visualize it. We sell a ton of artwork when we design nice things on people's walls. Yeah.
So I heard you walking around earlier, you were kind of picking up and we're getting ready to do the interview stuff. And I heard you say, oh, I just can't wait, because I know you have a few sales sessions tomorrow. I do. You're like, the next time somebody asks me, oh, can I see this? You're not going to have to say, I don't have one of those. You can say, oh, let's go out here. Let me show you. You know? So how is that going to change your world here?
That is actually going to change my world a lot, because again, I have had clients say, they'll see a corner piece and they'll say, oh, I think I like this, but do you have it bigger? And when I say no, like it's like, it feels like a defeat to me. I don't have it. Oh, I can't show it to you. And then they either have to trust me, or they go, oh, well, let me just think about it. And that's obviously the worst thing, because no one ever thinks about it and then comes back to you with the answer you want.
That is exactly right. I would say that has almost 100% failure rate.
I know. When people go, can I order something from you like in a few months? I go, oh, of course. How many times do you think people have? No, you either have to, I think, make the sale and not convince people, but just show them what they want to see and give them the answers that they're looking for to make their decisions. So it's going to be so exciting to show them finished pieces and large frame samples and
all the fun things. Yeah. So you and I have been working together with White House for quite some time, and doing a call every couple of weeks, for the last few years. Yes. But in the last 6, 7, 8 months-ish, we really dove into your sales. And I can remember you talking to me one day on the phone. You're like, I'm just stuck. I have a good average, but it's not where I want to be or what I would consider a great average, and I just can't get people to do this. And we dug in and really reorganized how you do your sales. So if you were going to try to stick your finger on like one thing or two things, let's say, I'll give you some options there, that really changed that, what would those things be for people who are listening along?
So let's say the things I've changed. So the thing I was struggling with was selling both an album and artwork. So that was the thing that I was struggling with because I found that people would go, oh, great, I'll just take an album, or, oh, I love the artwork. And I was struggling to have it be an and sale versus an or sale. Yep. The thing I've really changed, one of the big things was I know 90% of my clients will buy an album. It's an easy sell. Okay. But because it was an easy sell, I felt that I was leading with that versus leading with the things I knew they may or may not buy. Yeah. And so I have shifted that now I talk solely about artwork. Yeah. And we go through artwork and I design it for them. They say their yeses to it. We design it and then I move on to other things. Yeah. And almost as like the last thing I go, oh, well, you love all these photos. If it were me, I would create an album with these because I know you love them so much and they didn't make it to the wall. And people will say, oh, of course, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Of course I have to do an album. Yeah. I will also tell you one of the things that I was struggling with in the past was grandparent gifts. Okay. And it, for some reason, I never thought about it as I'd be like, oh, what do I want to sell a couple of prints for? But honestly, my sales averages are up hundreds of dollars. Like I'm selling hundreds of dollars of grandparent gifts now between the float frames and between loose prints.
And you just, if I remember correctly, you just weren't doing that.
I was not doing it. Yeah. And then I have my pad of paper. I religiously have my pad of paper in here. And I'll go, all right, so tell me, who wants a picture of this baby? Or who wants a picture of your family? Yeah. And it is incredible how when you ask a person a direct question, they will just give you an answer. Yeah. I used to say, oh, do you have anyone in your family you want to give a present to or a print to? And they'd say, no, it's not. But now I go, all right, tell me grandma's name. All right, what does grandma want? Because of course grandma wants a picture of her babies or her grandkid. Like, of course. Yeah. So those two things have been huge for me. Yeah. Just reorganizing.
It's so fun to hear you say, if it were me, because those are words that I say to you all the time and use that in your sales sessions. So without giving out, specifics, because we're not going to require even ask you to do that today. If you were going to say an increase in your sales from the mindset shift of selling, kind of and or to and, how has that changed?
I will tell you, my sales average is up $2,000, like per client. Because of my and versus or and grandparent gifts. Yeah. I sold like $700 in prints to someone like 2 weeks ago.
That's perfect.
I'm like, they're prints.
Yep.
But exactly. she was thrilled to have them.
Yes. Well, and then you are delivering the service.
Exactly.
Yep. And they don't have to worry about doing anything later. So that's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit more about the design of the space. We talk a lot on our calls about your products and being able to point at something and sell it.
Yes.
Like always have things that are available to sell. If you want to have a gallery space, this is my pretty pictures, this is my wow area. So you definitely have a wow area now. Coming in
I have your multiple wow areas, yes.
Down your hallway. That really gets our attention, gets them locked in, gets them excited. But when we're sitting here in your sales room looking around, especially behind us, this is a whopper.
It is.
That's your big one.
Yeah.
And we have multiple groupings around. I know specifically the framed acrylic group. You said multiple times that you would sell that, but you would sell it without actually having the sizes here. So was that like magic that you did that? Or
Well, I designed it on the White House app.
Okay.
And so I designed it on their wall and they would say yes to it. But yes, it is a little bit of but I do think people want to see things. Yeah. And I think even though they can see it on their walls and things, they need to see it in person and visualize it. So it's going to be exciting.
For sure. In that particular grouping, I've heard you say a couple times, you're going to just sell that one a lot more because it's easy to walk people out, show them the new product. Yep, this is what perfect, And there isn't have to visualize.
Yes.
For your clients, yeah. And one thing I do want to touch on, and for everybody that's listening too, Erika's been in business for 14 years.
14 years.
And she is constantly learning. Yeah. There isn't a place where you get to where you are like, nah, I'm cool. Like every 2 weeks I talk to you, oh, I'm working on this, I'm working on this. She knows her numbers, she knows her goals. You have a staff that you keep busy, you're in the trenches with your sessions, you're doing a lot of things. So if you are listening and you are, an established business owner, you've been, in business for a long time, I know it's easy to get a little bit stagnant. You don't let that happen.
I love to be busy, for better or worse. And I'm so detail oriented. I love to play with new space and new pillows and new products. And I mean, every time a client comes, like, it's a little bit different. Right. And so I think I love my business. My husband always tells me I need to get a hobby, and I'm like, but I love my business. My business is my hobby. Yeah. And I also love business, and I love creating for clients and curating for clients, and
it's what you do. It's you.
It is.
Yes, exactly. But I think the point that I want to drive home is that you don't get on your heels and sit down and be like, nah, I'm good. I've got a great business. I know you don't take that for granted.
Never.
You push all the time. And to be where you're at in Los Angeles with your studio space, have the clientele that you've built, it's impressive, and you've done a wonderful job.
Thank you.
And I think that the redesign does re-energize, re-showcases, and I'm anxious to hear how future sales go.
So am I.
Yeah. And we will most likely follow up with you and, make sure that, everything's going well. And, you always learn during these processes. You're going to learn what really worked. You're going to learn what maybe didn't work, so well. And if you have questions for us, feel free to reach out. And again, we hope that this does inspire you from a design perspective, from a sales perspective, business, photography, all the things. This is why we do this. We hope that you love it and enjoy it. And if it does pique your interest and it's something that you would like to work with White House on, reach out to us. We would love to see your space, talk about your ideas, and dream with you for a little bit on what's possible. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for having us here. It's awesome to be in the space and be able to hang out with you. We're going to go out to a cool spot for dinner tonight, and then we'll head back to Minneapolis after that. So thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you soon.